Hey everyone, Christopher Ruocchio here, author of the Sun Eater science fantasy series from Doll Books, junior editor at Baen Books with over 5 years of experience in the publishing industry, coming at you with another Sun Eater update. Now, as many of you will know, I do Q&A videos every month here on the channel, but there is one question that I leave out on purpose because I have some stock questions I ask every month, sort of rotate in and out. And that big question is, where is book 4? When is book 4? How is book 4? Book 4 is coming along nicely. It does have a title. I haven't yet been given permission to disclose that title publicly just yet in case the sales team changes it on me at the last minute. They didn't like Empire of Silence's original title, which was The Murdered Sun, S-U-N. So ever since I've been a little hesitant to disclose titles before they are finalized by the sales force. As soon as I do have that permission, though, you'll bet there'll be a title reveal video and we'll get the ball rolling. That being said, I am working on it every day or nearly every day. I'm also working on building an office upstairs so that I can get out of the spare bedroom and into something a little bit cooler. So that's been taking up a little time in the last couple weeks. But I have been moving things along. As things stand, the book is about 220,000 words long, so nearly as long as the first book in the series. I am writing chapter 57 of 77. The total number of chapters is still subject to a little change, but I'm about 75% of the way through. I run a spreadsheet. I've shown it in a couple of the other updates. Not going to do that this time, where I show you guys the average length of the chapters in the book, how many chapters there are, because I am one of those authors that outlines very heavily, which allows me to predict not only how much writing is left, but how long that writing is going to take. I am currently projecting about 2 more months of work at the current rate I've been going at. So sometime, I think, either right around the end of the year or mid-January, depending on if I hit some good days or not, or whether or not the holidays knock me down for a few days, which is fairly likely. We're looking at finishing book 4, The Sun Eater, in mid-January 2021. That is the current plan. That isn't the only thing I am working on. I've got a few other projects in the chute, as they say. So as soon as I finish work on book 4, I've got a few short stories I owe different people. As part of my day job at Baen Books, I assemble anthologies, that's short story collections with works from different authors. I'm working on one called World Breakers, which is going to come out in August of 2021. That's going to have a Sun Eater story in it because everything I put my name on has a story that I've written in it. And so far, everything I've written is a Sun Eater story. That book is about robot-controlled tanks. I haven't quite decided if I want to do an extra Solarian story or a Cielson cyborg story, but we do know that it's going to be, I do know, that it's going to be a big sort of monster showdown story with this big sort of robot tank. So for those of you who like those battle scenes, particularly in Demon and White, the story is going to be that in, shortened form. The next anthology that I am working on for Baen Books is called Sword and Planet. Sword and Planet is going to come out in December of 2021. That's going to have a full-blown Sun Eater novella in it. I don't quite know what that one's going to be about either just yet. I'm going to start knocking some ideas around here as soon as I get through with book 4, but I do know that it's going to be like a proper, like maybe 10 chapter story. So it's actually going to be quite substantial. So for those of you, who want to make sure you catch all the content, that will be one not to miss. I'm really excited too, because we're trying to get Kieran Yanner to do the cover art for Sword and Planet. He did the cover art for Howling Dark, for Demon and White. He's going to do the cover art for books 4 and 5 unless something changes. So we'll have a little more Sun Eater art to hit you with in the next year or so. I do not have to circle all the way back around to book 4. I don't have a release date for that just yet. Should have that to you. And you'll be ready to announce that right after the new year, I think is the current plan. Publishing, for those of you who don't know, like many industries, sort of winds down as you approach the end of the year. Everybody goes on vacation, and 2020 in particular has been kind of a slow year, kind of a weird year, as many of you know. And I'm expecting a lot of folks to get out of Dodge a little bit earlier. Might not see a lot of things moving in publishing between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we shall see. I am also working on putting together a short story collection. For those of you who don't know, I've written about a dozen short stories and published about a dozen short stories, all in the Sun Eater universe. But they're in different books. There's one in a book I did called Star Destroyers. There's another one called Space Pioneers. I've done two for the Simultaneous Times podcast. You can catch the Duelist right here on the channel if you haven't listened to it. The second one, Fire in the Sky, just came out this week. You can check that out too. Got links on Facebook. I'll make sure it gets in the description as well. But I've written about 12 stories now in various places. And so I'm starting to collect them, and I'm going to put the first 6 of them out in a bundle as an ebook only release, hopefully in the first quarter of next year. I'm hoping by my birthday, which is the end of March. So my current goal, it's going to be 6 stories that have previously appeared in different places, plus one original story called The Pits of Emesh. The Pits of Emesh is going to be a bit of a flashback. It's going to take place during Empire of Silence while Hadrian was a gladiator. It's going to be sort of lost chapters, if you will. I'm really excited to go back to the Colosseum and to work with Gen and Switch and all those characters again. So those of you who like that bit of Empire of Silence, definitely check out this ebook release coming early next year. It's going to be called Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 1, which, yes, does presuppose that there will be a Volume 2, maybe a Volume 3. When, as an author, you write a short story, you sell it to a magazine or to an anthology, usually you give that anthology or that magazine exclusive rights for a period. If it's an original story, it might be 6 months, might be a year before you can republish it. So as the rights for some of my more recent stories clear up, I'm going to put together a second volume. We might get that towards the end of 2021, might be 2022. We'll see, just depends on contracts and whether or not I can get original content written for that too, because I have a rule, and that rule is that if I'm putting out anything with my name on it, not only will it have something that I wrote in it, I'm not just going to collect other people's stories and put that out, but it will have something that's never appeared anywhere else. So I'm writing original stories, like I said, Pits of Emesh for Volume 1, there'll be an original story for Volume 2, and moving forward. As I say, it will be ebook only. Eventually, I'll collect all the stories I've ever written, put them out in a print book. Hopefully, Dahl will be willing to print that one alongside as a sort of companion piece to the main series. We'll see what happens. But that's that at this point is a few years down the road. But that first bundle, the first ebook bundle, Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 1, is going to come right after the holidays. I'm getting that together as soon as I finish Book 4. That and working on the World Breakers and Sword Planet stories are going to be my first priority for 2021. For those of you who've just stumbled onto the channel, welcome. Glad to have you here. If you haven't checked out the Sun Eater books, you can do so. The link, as always, will be in the description. Speaking of which, I also left a link to my newsletter. If you are a fan and you haven't signed up for the newsletter, you get 2 emails a month that give you progress reports on how I'm doing with Book 4. You get down to the minute word counts, projected totals, projected completion times. You get explanations of why it's taken so long. If it's slowing down, you get positive news if it's speeding along. If I had a good couple weeks, so it's not too intrusive. As I say, just 2 emails a month. You really ought to sign up for it. I'm thinking about doing some giveaways too. I'll do those through the newsletter, so do stay tuned. And if you haven't, please do subscribe to the channel and stick around. We're going to be reviewing Mandalorian episodes as they come out. I am a big Star Wars fan, so we've been doing that the last few weeks. If you haven't caught those, you can see the old live streams here too. But until next time, everybody, stay well.